Hey everyone, how we doing? So this video is going to be on Europe's Ryder Cup picks, and at the end of the video, I'm going to show you guys do a little bit of teaching on how to aim with your short irons. So as always, if you enjoy this video, make sure you hit the like button and like this video as often as possible. And if you have any questions, make sure you ask them because I'll answer them. And so without further ado, let's start off with Europe's Ryder Cup picks. So Europe picked, if you didn't know, Europe picked Sergio Garcia, Henrik Stenson, Ian Poulter, and Paul Casey. They picked three guys that predominantly play on U.S. soil. Okay, and yeah, so those were the four big picks that Europe chose to go into the Ryder Cup. So that's Sergio Garcia, Paul Casey, Henrik Stenson, and Ian Poulter. So I guess all four of those guys play mostly in America. So yeah, so four interesting picks. I was definitely pretty surprised at who he picked. He didn't pick Rafa Cabrera-Bello. He didn't pick Matt Wallace. He didn't pick Eddie Pepperville. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. And so he didn't go with either of those three guys. He also didn't pick Matt Fitzpatrick, which I was really surprised at because Matt Fitzpatrick got in the last Ryder Cup. So was really surprised at who he picked. Sergio Garcia hasn't played good since the 2017 Masters. I don't believe he made any cuts in any majors this year. Don't believe he made any cuts in any WGC events this year. And last time I checked, I don't even think he made it past into the BMW Championship last year in the FedEx Cup playoffs, and he won a major, and I don't even know if he played in any of the playoff events this year. He might have made it into the Northern Trust. I know he was having to grind it out at the Wyndham this year to try and get into the top 125. So, I mean, didn't play good this year. Really played pretty terrible last year except for the first event of the year. So I'm really surprised in the Sergio Garcia pick, especially with Rafa Cabrera-Bello only playing, I believe it was 10 events, 11 events on the PGA Tour this year, and was 37th in the FedEx Cup as it stands right now. So really shocked at that one. Kind of surprised he went with Henrik Stenson over Matt Wallace. Matt Wallace won 3 times in the European Tour this year. Is in the top 20 on the European Tour race to Dubai, but 3 wins this year. 3 wins this year. He just won last week, and he somehow didn't get a pick. I mean, that's a pretty hot player in my book. 3 wins. 3 wins this year. Didn't get a pick. 3 wins. That's 3 more wins than Henrik Stenson, Ian Poulter. 3 more wins than Henrik Stenson and Sergio Garcia. He's got 1 more win than Henrik Stenson, Sergio Garcia, Paul Casey, and Ian Poulter combined do this year. So really, really shocked at that one. Matt Fitzpatrick, young gun, playing really good. I don't know how he didn't get picked. Really kind of curious how that one worked out. I don't know who's playing better. Honestly, of the 4 picks, I don't know how any of those 4 guys are playing better than the 3 guys that I've mentioned so far: Rafa Cabrera-Bello, Matt Wallace, and Matt Fitzpatrick. Don't see how that worked out. So really shocked. Thomas Bjorn picked those guys. I know he went with experience. I know the United States has made the choice to go with experience in the past, and it has always imploded on them. So maybe this is the year experience wins. So I don't know. I know America's going younger. And in the past, a lot of European Ryder Cups, European hosted Ryder Cups, America has gone with experience, and it has just been a horrible decision. So happy to see they're going younger. Was a little surprised Europe didn't go younger too. So yeah, that's 4 picks. I think everyone expected Ian Poulter to get picked. He has played pretty solid this year. Hasn't played that great the last month and a half or so, but played pretty good end of last year, beginning and middle of this year. So Paul Casey won this year the PGA Tour. It hasn't really played that great since. So those are your Ryder Cup picks for Europe. America still has 1 pick left, and they'll pick here in a couple weeks. Or is it next week? Anyways, so still Still going to be a good tournament to watch. Ryder Cup's always a blast. And so, yeah, let's move on. Let's talk about how to aim with your short irons here. So I've hit some shots to get loosened up and warmed up. And so, yeah, we're feeling pretty good. This is a pitching wedge. All right, this is a pitching wedge. This is a short iron, right? If you want, I can go to a 9-iron. Maybe a 9-iron will work a little better. No, we'll do pitching wedge. Pitching wedge is fine. How to aim with short irons, right? Short irons is a club that's not really used that much anymore because golf courses have gotten so long. Typically, you'll see a lot of guys that are hitting wedges or mid and long irons in the par 4s and 5s. It's kind of how it's gone, but the short iron still has a big role to play in golf in general still, I think. So, short irons, how to aim short irons. So, typically with short irons, you have a steeper angle of attack versus the mid and long irons in your bag. What does that mean? A steeper angle of attack means that the golf ball is going to want to start more to the right versus a shallower angle of attack. Now let me just switch views here, and let's just see what we can see. Here we go. So if you look on the board, I think you can see it. I hope you can see it. Let me look at the camera, see if you can see the board at all. Can you see the board? You can kind of see the board. Let's bring the camera up. So here is the board, right? These are my numbers with the pitching wedges from the ones that I've just been warming up with. So as you can see, I've gotten loose the last 4 or 5 shots. If you come over here to angle of attack, see angle of attack right there, right? Angle of attack. Okay, and you see the average angle of attack here. I don't know why the screen went black. There we go, it's better. So you see the angle of attack, my average is 3.6 degrees down. Okay, and if you see they vary from, you know, 1.2 all the way down to negative 1.2, negative 0.8 to negative 6.8. So pretty steep, okay, right? So the average is right around negative 3.6 degrees. Okay, so that is, like, say, my angle of attack with pitching wedge. And so you'll expect that pitching wedge should be a little bit steeper than, say, you know, the 8-iron, than, say, a 6-iron, than, say, a 3 or 4-iron, right? And so the golf ball's going to want to come out a little bit more to the right. Now, assuming you can square up your club face, match up your club face and your swing path, your approach shots with a wedge will have a tendency to go more to the right. So if I sit up to the shot and I have a square club face at impact and I hit down the ball, it's going to want to swerve to the right. Pretty much, well, that was pretty straight, but yeah. So if we look at the stats, I'll bring the camera up again. If we look at the stats, you'll see that the angle of attack here was, there's angle of attack, is negative 2.9 degrees. Now if you look at my path, face to path and club path, you'll see that they were 0.1 degrees left and 0.1 degrees right. So straight, and negative 2.9 degrees of attack angle yielded a straight, you can see on there, see the classification there, that's ball flight, yielded a straight ball flight. And it carried 147 yards at an 86 mile an hour swing speed. So I'll put the camera back. I'm not sure why it keeps going dark on me. But anyways, so yielded a straight ball flight. So that tells you that if you hit down the ball a little bit and keep everything the same, the loft is going to help keep this ball pretty straight. If you try and hit down the golf ball a little bit more, we'll try and get really steep with it. Again, really straight ball flight. I don't know Yeah, so -4 degrees attack angle, okay? So you see how steep you have to get this golf ball to want to start to the right. It's a pretty steep attack angle. We're talking about 7, 8, 9 degrees here to get this golf ball started off right. So when you're aiming with your short irons, now that you know that you have a ton of play with attack angle, you can set up very straight with these clubs. And as long as you do your part and match up the club face and the path to give you a pretty straight ball flight, you know that this club is going to actually produce a very straight ball flight. It's not going to squirt out to the right, it's not going to squirt out to the left. However, if you start shallowing out that attack angle, let's see if we can hit one pretty square, or pretty neutral. You'll notice that ball flight curved to the left. And the attack angle is -0.6 degrees. So if you go too shallow, the ball starts to curve left, right? So let's do this one more time. Pretty straight, but the ball did fall left, okay? And again, that attack angle, -0.9 degrees. So as you start to get more neutral with this wedge, it's going to want to go more left. However, that you can get pretty steep and still hit some straight shots. So that's to tell you something. If you have a shallow angle attack, you're going to want to aim more to the right. If you're a right-hand player, aim more to the right to help hit shots where you want them to go. If you are a steeper angle attack guy, you can still aim very straight, and you'll be able to execute shots appropriately and hit them straight where you want them to go. So that's essentially, in a nutshell, how you should approach aiming with your short irons, okay? Pretty simple, right? So that's some nice behind the scenes, some numbers to help you kind of prove what the golf ball is going to do when you do certain things. So remember, if that's about it, I guess, right? So if anybody had any questions, let me see if anybody had any questions. Nope, no questions? All right, we're good to go. That's all we got for you today. Thanks for watching my take on the European Ryder Cup picks and on how to aim with your short irons.